Hi guys, it's Aaron Mashano here. I'm the chairman and CEO of Leaders of Tomorrow Group. We're actually an organization that's really passionate about empowering, equipping, and connecting entrepreneurs, young and old, to help them fulfill their dreams by serving through projects that help the community as well. So I'm really grateful for being able to be invited into this summit, and wanted to maybe share with you guys my gratitude and congratulations to all the young attendees that have invested the time during these new times, just to learn a little bit more about leadership, and also attend and connect with other people, mentors, and just be in an environment that's a bit more positive around the Nelson Mandela Regional Youth Summit. So just wanted to acknowledge you guys for doing that and to say that you're really, really special to make the time to do that, because in this time, a lot of people may be hanging out and complaining about what's happening. And some people have been very badly affected by this pandemic. But all that to say, not putting any or dismissing any of those situations, because it's been very difficult for all of us. It's really, really good to at least make a different decision to get around some people who maybe have solutions, some positive insights, and just to mingle and share ideas like you guys are doing at the summit. So you are a very rare person, and I wanted to say congratulations for attending, and please make the effort to attend. So a little bit about me, and I guess maybe why I was invited to share a few things and answer some questions with you. I was a refugee asylum seeker who migrated to Australia at the age of 16. And so maybe perhaps I have a little bit of experience in some of my friends who came with me and myself. And I guess what I could say to the question of what makes me optimistic is that from my experience, I've just learned that it's one thing to be very practical, it's another thing to be very realistic, and it's another thing to be very positive and optimistic. Because if I was to be just practical and maybe negative, I may still have been left in my home country of Zambia, where everyone told me I wouldn't amount to much. And I was raised in a family where we didn't have a lot of resources. And so if I use that as a decision to be either realistic and say, well, if nobody else around me has changed, and then maybe nothing's going to be good that's going to happen for me as well, chances I wouldn't be here living in Bali as a executive business coach running 6 companies in 5 continents. The thing that got me there, my friends, is optimism. I, lucky for me, had friends and had mentors that really believed in me a little bit more, and then basically told me I could do more, slow, a little by little, every day. And so for me, I really think that optimism really matters. And that's one of the biggest secret ingredients I've had that's led to my success in the last years after I was 16. So, what are the biggest issues that maybe, um, you know, needing young people to step up? To be honest, it's a very hard question. I think young people now, unlike when I was growing up, have a lot more distractions, a lot more options in life. And I think maybe counter to what other people might advise, I've come across some research that actually works in my business, where we found that if you, for example, have a tennis ball and throw it to a younger person, they can probably focus on one thing and catch it, right? So imagine the tennis ball is a metaphor for opportunities. Now, let's just say now I give you 10 tennis balls and I say, hey, you want all 10? And you're like, sure, I would love to make more money. I would love to have more friends. I would love to have more jobs. I would love to have more businesses. And then I throw all 10 at the same time at you. What's going to happen? You're probably not going to catch any ball. And this is a sad reality, I think, for one of the biggest issues I find in the young people today, is that because of our social media, Facebook, smartphones, computers, access to internet, we have so much opportunity and ideas bombarding us at the same time. And I think what leaders need to step up into is maybe getting some guidance around how to focus on one thing. That's right. It's very, very hard to do. And I think it's a good thing. I'm a big believer in having many, many passions. But the sooner you can get to focusing on what you want to do in your life, how you want to make money in your life, and then what skills you think you might need to be successful in that particular craft, area, business, position, job, call it what you want, and then just try and focus on that one thing. I think that's going to help a lot. So hopefully we can share more on that. The third is how does my leadership actually help me when I was young set me up in today? Well, for me, I think what was my biggest saving grace, my friends, is one of the biggest things I think young leaders need is a sense of curiosity. That's being able to be excited about anything that is different to you. So it might be, if you're from African background like me, I was super curious about how Aboriginals lived. I was curious about how the Western world worked. So I wanted to travel to those places and go experience it for myself. I was also curious about people who maybe had different situations to me. I grew up as a farm boy in Zambia, Africa, and yet I met other people who were city people. They did different things. Or I might have watched a movie and was inspired by someone who just did something that was just so foreign out of my world, but I was very, very curious. So I think one of the biggest things young people can do as a person is step back and get very curious about things that are different. Don't judge them too quickly, and if you're young, try and do more new things, and just have a little bit of courage to understand that you're going to make a lot of mistakes, but it's in those mistakes that you actually learn. So I really hope some of you guys can get something out of that. And the last part is, what would young people need to study, I think, to do what I do? I guess for me, it's a funny one. One of the biggest lessons I think I have that have helped me in my success today in business, at least in leadership, coaching that at the moment, is just telling people to again study biographies of the great people, get interested in things like social skills, get interested in negotiation skills, get interested in understanding your own personality and what makes you tick, what are your strengths and weaknesses, get interested in conflict resolution. How do you overcome a negative situation? Maybe you get into an argument with a friend or a teacher or a leader or a parent. How can you use the right tools to influence that situation so it doesn't become very negative for you? And I think the last one is, I think as a young person, I was always interested in reading. And I don't know if we can count that as study, but I think it's one thing to go to school and get a good education. And I'm a big believer in that. But, I have a son. I think if I were to give him advice, I would rather, if I had everything taken away, including his school, what is the one thing I'd want him to study? I would want him to study the ability to learn. I really want him to know how to learn. So, what I mean by that is, it's one thing to go get a curriculum and the teacher gives you mathematics and you have to read the book and repeat what he said. It's another thing for you to go study how the brain works in terms of how you retain information. It's another thing in speed reading, maybe. It's another thing in how to have comprehension skills, how to translate that information so you can communicate it to your friends and others. These other parts is what I feel education is all about, which is to induce from within gifts, being able for you to learn how to study any field anytime and be able to command confidence because you actually understand things at the root issue. So this is beyond schooling, my friends, or at least formal education. I've learned this unfortunately later on in my life about the ability to be able to learn. And what that did for me is it allowed me then to get curious, if you remember that, to go back into being able to learn anything about any topic. And that served me so well in business because no matter whether there's a trend in business, technology, and programming, I know how to learn. I follow a system of how to do that. If I want to learn about a new language, I know how to learn and have a system to follow to do that. So I really hope that inspires you guys to get curious about that. And if you have any questions for me about anything, I'll be hopefully at the summit able to introduce a few people. But later on, I'd love to connect with you guys on chats if we have the opportunity, or on social media afterwards. So I wish you the very, very best on the summit as well. And really, really wanted to congratulate everyone and encourage you guys to really sign up and join this event, because you'll be able to meet with people who can really help you grow and deal with some of the situations or difficult times that we're in, but how to basically turn the lemon into lemonade so that you can seize that opportunity and look back maybe 5 years from now when the pandemic is gone and say, I'm so glad I attended this event because I got the skills I needed to become a great leader. So I wish you all the success. Thank you very much. It's Aaron Mashano here.
Well, that's a huge thank you to Aaron, and we hope you come and enjoy the Nelson Mandela Youth Leadership Summit 2020. It'll be good fun, good thinking, and we'll all learn a lot. And we'll learn a lot from each other and make new connections, new friends to help us on our way of leadership.